The league has announced that they're fining James Harden $100,000 for some comments that he made while he was in China promoting his Adidas shoe and brand. James said he would not play for Philadelphia 76ers general manager Daryl Morey ever again, and he called Daryl a liar after a private investigation from the league office with James and why he made said comments. According to the league, Harden's comments came out of frustration because when he opted in to his deal, apparently there was a wink-wink agreement between Harden and Daryl that Harden would be quickly traded. The Philadelphia 76ers have let it be known that their intention is to bring James Harden back to training camp after failing to make a trade for Harden this offseason. We shall see if Harden shows up to camp. There's another piece to this story that a lot of people are not discussing. Last offseason, Harden had the opportunity to take more money from Philadelphia, but he took about $10 to $15 million less, which allowed the Sixers to go out and grab two specific players, PJ Tucker and Daniel House. Why am I saying those players by name for this video's sake? Because they're important. Those are two guys that Harden had played with in Houston. Obviously, Daryl was also the general manager for that Rockets squad as well. It's all starting to kind of limbo in one pot here. Let's not forget the Sixers got fined for tampering this past season because the league's investigation found out that the Sixers had negotiated with Daniel House and PJ Tucker before last year's free agency begun. All of it makes sense. So the Sixers are already on thin ice with the league. So the fact that James came out and said, yo, I'm telling you why I called him a liar. I called Daryl a liar because we had a handshake agreement. The Sixers lost draft picks over that tampering investigation last year, and obviously Harden pretty much telling the whole story this offseason could lead to them getting or losing more draft picks because Harden is flat-foot saying there's another tampering violation. You cannot have a wink-wink agreement with a player before the appropriate time frame, which is what Harden is telling the league and the private investigators. That's what happened between him and Daryl, and that's why he's frustrated. Let me be clear with you. I feel no empathy for Daryl Morey in any of this. You want to know why? Because James, for years now, has pretty much called all his shots. And yes, James is a great scorer. He's going to go down in NBA history as one of the top 6 or 7 shooting guards to ever dribble a basketball. But one of my biggest complaints has always been, I felt like James was getting treated like a top 3 shooting guard, like Dwayne Wade, versus a top 6 or 7 shooting guard. Meaning for a top 6 or 7 shooting guard all time, they're great. You acknowledge their greatness. You try your best to put great players around them. But when we start talking about a top 3 shooting guard, meaning the guy behind Kobe and Mike, we're talking about way more special, unique privileges, meaning giving James Harden the ability to not play when he doesn't want to play, not be in shape when the season begins, to demand a trade and play where he wants to play, which Harden has gotten his wish 2 times in the past 3 seasons. See, that's where the disconnect is for me. And Daryl was one of the leading people in giving James that top 3 Dwayne Wade-esque type of treatment. And I always thought it would backfire. And I believe as James nears the end of his prime, we are at that place. Okay, I'm covering a story in music. Y'all know I'm a journalist in the music side as well, with a rapper that is locked up right now for aiming a weapon at his wife and his child, according to his wife. Okay, so a couple months ago, the rapper and his wife were going around doing podcasts. The rapper was saying some really nasty stuff about people and what he was going to do to people. So after this incident this week, the wife has come out and said, yo, Yo, my husband on drugs. I'm getting a divorce from him. I'm filing a restraining order. He aimed a weapon at me and my kid. Y'all see where I'm going with this, right? Okay, 9 times out of 10, most likely the rapper that the wife is claiming is using, he's on drugs right now, was on drugs a couple months ago. But because the rapper wasn't airing out his frustration or giving you some of that nasty energy that he was giving other people in interviews, you roll with it. It was cool then. You see, more times than not, when people treat other people bad, if you sit there and kiki with them while they treat other people bad, your day and your time is coming. It's just a matter of time. Okay, the kid out there that goes and starts fights in school, I'm talking about from elementary on up, as a parent, if all you do is say, I know that ain't my baby would never. My baby don't start fights. Clearly, this kid at this school, that school, that school, that school, that school, that school, that school, and that school, clearly they're starting stuff with my kid. Like, damn, 9 different schools got kids starting stuff with your kid? If you never give your child any accountability, one day when your kid gets old enough, they won't be trying to put their hands on other students. They're going to try to walk in your house and beat your ass. That's it. If you kiki and gossip with somebody as they talk behind other people's back, and you sit there in the conversation and talk behind people's back with said person or allow it to happen on your watch, it's cool. But just know your day is coming where you're going to get talked about. That person, after they get through talking behind the other person's back, they're going to go talk behind your back with the other person. As long as you good with that, it just is what it is. Your day is coming. If you allow people to get away with nonsense and don't call them out on it, you're going to get a day. Just bring this back here to Daryl and Philadelphia's own James Harden as of right now. James has pretty much gotten his way since the moment he left Oklahoma City, which obviously we all knew that was a mistake by the Thunder. But since that moment, James has become one of the greatest 2 guards in the last 10, 15 years and all time. And he has let you know about it every step of the way. He wants y'all to know he believes he's great, and he wants y'all to treat him like Dwayne Wade. And now with him entering the back end of his prime, now teams are thinking twice, like, yo, well, I mean, I don't know, James. You sure you want to? There was no interest in James Harden. The Clippers wouldn't even give up Terrence Mann, probably their 7th leading scorer, for James. That's telling you something. That's telling you a lot. Teams maybe were willing to put up with a lot of James's mess in his prime, but definitely not allowing it now. But the person that put up with James's stuff in his prime was Harden-Morey in Houston, and even making the trade for him in Philadelphia. So now Daryl's got to sit with James, and this situation's got to play out. And one of the things that you got to love, when you allow somebody to do something with you and you allow their shenanigans to go on your watch, oftentimes they try to hurt you 10 times worse than anybody else they ever hurt. James Harden went to China. Anybody that knows about the recent history between Harden-Morey and China, it's not good. He's cost the NBA hundreds of millions of dollars because of comments that he's made. James made sure this comment was made about Daryl in China, where Daryl is not beloved by the fans. He cost them NBA basketball. By presidents, they thought he talked too dang much. He wanted the most impact for these comments. That's how you repay the guy that has traded you when you wanted to be traded, acquiesced to that, let you fly on private jets before training camp, going to party, come in shape, out of shape, all type of stuff. That's how James repaid that guy. He flat-foot called him a liar in China. Daryl's gonna likely lose his job over this. He is. He's gonna lose his job over this. How this James Harden situation plays out will be the defining moment in Harden-Morey's run as general manager in Philadelphia. And I don't feel an ounce of sorry for Daryl at all.